Hello, everybody. Back with Razor and Shad to talk about Mortal Kombat Armageddon, which came out, I think, almost 19 years ago. Was it October or September of 2006 that game came out?
Let me Google that for us.
Instinct tells me September, but I could very well be wrong.
The internet is a real thing. It was
You
released.
added-
It was released October 2006, and then a Wii version was released on May 29th, 2007. Wii.
Shad, the
Yes.
internet is a communication tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
Incorrect, sir. It is a series of tubes.
That's also true.
Is that a reference to Final Fantasy 13?
No. Final Fantasy 13 is a series of tubes.
Yeah.
I think it's only one tube.
Yeah.
And apparently, for the first 20 hours, you just go down the tube or something.
I made it 6 hours before I gave up on a piece of crap.
God, I love the reviews for that game being like, you get 40 hours in and it finally opens up.
Yeah. 40 hours, guys. Just dedicate nearly 2 days of your life. It gets really good, promise.
It's like that's not really a point in its favor, though.
Series never came back. Never. I mean, FF7 Remake had its moments. I like the first one. Rebirth was the second one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Has anyone purchased my Steelbook yet? No. Okay.
But we've come together on this fine day to discuss Mortal Kombat Armageddon.
Yes.
I want to go into something. I remember. I think around the time like they announced Armageddon, like it was when they announced. I think it was the image of all the characters standing in front of Blaze. Like it was like, this is everyone is here before Smash did it.
Well, there was two versions of that wallpaper. The first one they released was missing a couple of characters, most notably Motaro.
Yeah, and Scorpion and Sub-Zero were in their Deception outfits.
They were wearing their alt costumes.
I always forget there are two versions of that thing.
Yeah.
No, yeah, Motaro. They actually, because they couldn't do a four-legged fighter, they basically just said, some kind of curse happened that turned him into a two-legged person or something.
Yeah, it was something about it was like Shao Kahn did it to reward Goro for joining his side of Deception.
Some shit. It's very, very, very vaguely alluded to.
You know what's missing? You know what's missing from that explanation is that Motaro was fucking dead. How did he come back?
The spell worked in hell. There were no more centaurs.
Yeah, I guess the spell affects your soul in the afterlife too.
Yes. Oh, I had to jump through some hoops to fucking fix that in my fan fiction.
Now, I have a question. So, when the person dies and goes to hell, they're technically a ghost now. Like, dead people appear to be solid in the nether realm, but they don't actually have bodies. So isn't it more like a residual self-image, like in The Matrix? Don't you look how you are in the afterlife, how you picture yourself? Like, that's why when the characters die in Mortal Kombat 9, and then we see them, they're wearing whatever they had on last. Like, Cyber Sub-Zero is, like, Quan Chi hasn't made the Revenants yet. They all just look like zombies, but they're wearing whatever they died in. So Sub-Zero is still Cyber Sub-Zero in that scene. So, I don't know. Should Motaro have 4 legs in the afterlife because he believes he has 4 legs?
It was a curse that affects your dead soul. Yes.
I don't know. I like to imagine like the idea of like he's in the afterlife with 4 legs and Shinnok brings him back to life and all of a sudden he has 2 and he's like, what the fuck, dude? You missed the part.
Well, I mean, let's be real. The decay started with the GameCube release of Deception, And it was definitely in full effect here, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's a couple other funny bits about the first version of the wallpaper. Like Reptile is a Deadly Alliance skin, and then in the final version they switched him to the Shaolin Monk skin.
Oh yeah, because everyone, like, at the time absolutely hated the Deadly Alliance outfit. Hated. Yeah. I don't know if people care about it now, but I was always kind of partial to it.
Yeah. Meat and Chameleon weren't there yet. Serena's wearing her other costume.
And they didn't add female Chameleon until the Wii version.
No, I don't think she ever made it onto the wallpaper. Sector is a recolor of Cyrax in the first version. He didn't get his actual outfit until the second.
That's
Noob Saibot has the flesh-colored skin, and then he gets the black skin in the second version.
I don't think Taven and Dagon were on it, were they?
I don't think they are, actually.
Well, the funny thing is, apparently 6 months out from release, Taven didn't even have a name.
That's not unsurprising.
Naming characters is kind of one of the last things they do. Like, I don't know how deep into development it was before Sector and Cyrax stopped being ketchup and mustard.
Yeah.
But I mean, in a case like Armageddon, where you have like voice recording to think about, you can't leave that till the last minute, obviously.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. I mean, I think a lot of that game was made at the last minute, though.
Well, yeah, I think...
Oh, it definitely feels like that.
At the time, I think his name was just Bob. Because that's what James called him.
That sounds right. That is a thing Ed would do.
So basically, I guess what we're talking about Armageddon is that we don't really got much of a story this time.
No, we don't.
There's a conquest mode.
we have a story for a brand new protagonist,
but
parts of the surrounding ensemble, but a good 80% of the cast in Armageddon has no effective storyline at all.
Well, I will. So there are 17 bios.
Really?
And interestingly, so the game launched without any bios, and most of these bios exist solely to explain why a character is where they are in the conquest mode, or to try and make sense of their arcade ending, which I think was fucking folly.
Yeah.
But a lot of the bios, like these are the longest bios any game has ever had. They are like a full page length, multiple paragraphs, and some of them are trying to fill in like for multiple characters. Like it'll be one person's bio, but it'll say what 2 or 3 other people are doing, because Vogel knew he wasn't going to get to them, so he tried to give them what he could.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. These were all written on, like, Vogel's personal time. Like, I don't think he was getting paid to do these. He was uploading them on his own to the game's website as, like, I'm sorry to the fan base.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was an I'm sorry thing. I mean, I remember there were a lot of rumblings about, like, what the hell is everyone doing? But it felt like he was addressing a legitimate concern. Like, even at that point in time, MK was pretty well known for having a pretty concrete and well laid out story, so it was unusual to see. So props to him for that. And Lord knows he certainly got his share of shit for not doing them all, which is what we were all expecting at the time, like lunatic children we were.
I mean, I was thankful just to get what we got, because I knew he was, nobody else at the fucking studio was interested in supporting him doing this, or he wasn't getting paid to do it and all that kind of thing.
I think what happened was apparently he was working on them, and then I think somebody up top, probably Sean Hemmer, probably said no bios.
I don't know. The fact that they came out like a week or two apart at a time, and they came out I don't know when the first one was released. It was maybe a month or two after the game launched. It was a significant enough time afterward that I don't think a single one of them was written during development. I think it was all after the fact.
Yeah.
Sean Hemrick may be a tool, but I'm not about to place aspersions on him. Just because
Yeah, I don't
think
want
he
to
may
like
have.
conspiracy theory stuff. Isn't really my bag. I don't want to like
Yeah.
guess things that don't have any basis.
I have a feeling we might find out when Long Live Mortal Kombat Round 2 gets published.
That depends. I think the writer's going to wait a couple years, or it would be in his best interests to wait a couple years until some of these guys retire and are no longer under Warner Brothers contract, because there's no way WB is going to let them do interviews.
Yeah, like, we're not going to get anything out of John Vogel. We're not going to get anything out of, like,
Ed
or John.
Well, Tobias will definitely talk, because he talked on the first book, because he doesn't work there.
He talked about the first book, but, like, not in depth. Like, how much of it have you read thus far? So I am about a quarter of the way in. I'm at the chapter that's talking about the founding of Acclaim and the making of the home versions. Well, John's not going to have too much to talk about in the next book, even if they do get a hold of him, because, like,
well, yeah, because
his
he wasn't there.
Yeah, like, he can talk about mythologies, maybe a little bit of MK Gold, assuming he was in the office for half of that. But we're not going to get anything out of him meaningful for Special Forces apart from his plans, and that's it, dude.
Well, I think what he has to say about Special Forces is the only thing you could say about that game that would be juicy.
Yeah, I'm hoping the Legacy Collection has like something like the Soul Reaver Collection, just where it's like, this is what was supposed to happen here. Like this is what was supposed to happen, but it wasn't finished.
I mean, you can tell people what was supposed to happen. And that's by including the friggin' E3 Sonya and Jax demo.
Yeah,
but they've already said that they're not going to be doing that.
The E3 demo tells you basically all there is to know about Tobias's original plans, other than like where the end of the game would have gone, which was they stole the nuke to give it to a mad scientist who was building a Stargate, and the Stargate was going to go to Outworld. And then Jax was going to use that to get to MK2. And when he arrived in Outworld, he was going to accidentally stumble onto Goro's hiding place. The final boss fight of the game would be Jax versus Goro.
Still makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't know about that part. I do wish we got, the actual what's in the demo, which is how Kano lost his eye. I wish that was canon.
That would have been nice, yes. But Jax going into Outworld and meeting Goro before MK2, no thank you. Still makes no sense.
I mean, yeah. Just
anyway, Armageddon though.
Yeah. Well, I think we start off with like apparently before Edenia was taken over by Shao Kahn, Argus and Delia, I think is the mom's name. Like she has a vision. Apparently, if I remember correctly, the opening of Armageddon was supposed to just be Delia's vision. It wasn't supposed to be what actually happened or something.
Well, I mean, the idea is that
Razor and we differ on this.
Here's the thing. The developers said that the opening cutscene is Delia's vision. The reason they said that is because they were trying to placate fans who were upset to see Li Mei get stabbed. Like, they didn't want to commit that the characters who die in the opening are necessarily dead. So they came up with this excuse.
Well, I think Li Mei, Shiva, and Kenshi clearly die in that opening.
I don't think Shiva's wound was fatal. Honestly, I think all three of them could have been survivable just based on what we see in X-rays.
Fuck it. The entire purpose of the game is to kill people. I say they're all dead.
Well, the thing is that, at the end of the day, everybody is dead, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
But at the time, they were given these wishy-washy excuses to be like, don't be mad at us, maybe Li Mei isn't dead. It's like, you're ending the timeline.
We really don't want to offend the 5 of you out there. Please don't be angry at us, 5 Li Mei fans. I mean, I've always been of the... I view the opening to Armageddon, be it Delia's vision or not, as being just as canon as the rest of them, as Deadly Alliances, Deceptions. As far as I'm concerned, It's 100% accurate.
Well, now
Well,
here's
It's a
the other
vision
thing.
of the future. That's what I say.
Even if it is a vision, Delia's prophecy powers are 100% accurate. So the vision is what happened.
Well, I guess we'll cover that, but one thing I guess we'll cover that because that hasn't happened yet. Basically, so back what I was saying. Argus and Delia Delia has that vision, and that's when
Well,
Argus decides to seal their two sons away.
So if I may,
yeah,
the explanation here. So this is the first time we're meeting the characters of Argus, Delia, Taven, and Dagon, and the premise here is that it is the opening cutscene of Conquest Mode is during the period that Shao Kahn is invading Edenia. Outworld and Edenia are an open war, which means there's already been 10 Mortal Kombat tournaments that Edenia has lost, but they're still fighting back in the invasion. Like, Argus acts like he expects Edenia to win. Like, they're going to push Shao Kahn back. It's no big deal. He's very lax about the whole thing. Because, so first of all, Argus is the protector god of Edenia. He is the Raiden of Edenia. And this is the first time we're ever meeting a god from any realm other than Earth.
yeah.
And so Delia is a human sorceress. She's specifically called the Lady of Flame. She's a fire sorceress, a pyromancer.
Yeah.
And she's Argus's human wife. And they have two sons who are demigods, Taven and Dagon. And Taven and Dagon are very competitive. And they're both apparently like in line. Argus wants them to somehow inherit his powers and take over as protector of Edenia one day, or at least only one of them can. So they're always like fighting to see who's the stronger brother and all this shit.
Yeah.
So Argus, like, Delia is an oracle and she can see the future, and she has a vision that the world is going to end as a result of a chain of events that starts with the corruption of the Mortal Kombat tournament, meaning specifically Shang Tsung taking over the Earthrealm tournaments and moving it to his island, and the events of MK1 and all of that.
Yeah.
And eventually, what's going to happen is just that as the tournament breaks down and the rules that govern conflict between realms become, broken over and over again, eventually the reality will become so unstable that a whole bunch of people with special superpowers fighting each other will rip reality apart. And according to Delia's vision, this fight is specifically going to happen at a particular crater in Edenia. So, Argus, genius that he is,
Yeah.
We use that word very sarcastically.
Yeah, I'm being sarcastic here.
Just
So
in case.
Argus comes up with the brilliant idea of, okay, well, if these people are going to fight in this crater, let's give them a reason to fight in this crater. So he builds this pyramid that, and then his wife Delia creates a fire elemental, a servant being named Blaze, and the idea is that Blaze will walk the realms. He'll observe and study the events of history until he can sense that Armageddon is close at hand, and then he will lure all the fighters to the crater, to the pyramid, so that the fighting can be, I guess, controlled, directed. The idea is that whoever beats Blaze will gain the power of a god. That the elder gods have, they've been speaking to Argus and they have approved of his plan, and they've given Blaze this gift of power. And whoever kills Blaze will gain the prize from him, and the prize is the power of a god. So this is a lure. This is a trap. This is a reason for all the fighters to come to the crater. So if Blaze and the prize didn't exist,
they wouldn't have been there.
the fight at the crater would never happen. There'd be no reason for Armageddon to occur if Argus and Delia weren't deliberately causing it to occur. This goes beyond the idea of a self-fulfilling prophecy, because usually self-fulfilling prophecies happen by accident. They're doing this shit on purpose now.
You know, beloved, we could just settle the matter of your succession by a friendly contest between both of our sons. No, we're gonna do this. Two
Here's the other
birds,
thing.
one stone. Two birds, one
Argus?
stone. But one stone!
Argus! The goal here is to prevent the end of the world, but Argus has decided, fuck that. What I really care about is one of my sons winning. I'm going to make this a contest between those two, and the fact that 64 other people are going to show up is not important to me.
Because
One of them will win. This is about my boys.
Like, what if one of them gets the power? Then your plan's kind of fucked.
Like, no, see, this is actually how arrogant Argus actually is. He does not believe anyone. He legitimately does not believe that anyone but Taven or Dagon could win this thing. That's how arrogant he is and how stupid he is. To the degree where you have both of his kids commenting in the storyline, this was a stupid plan. What the hell was wrong with father? What was he thinking?
Yeah, yeah. Well, here's the thing, is that according to Argus's plans, Blaze is so powerful that none of them should be able to kill him. Argus has created a pair of swords, one for Taven and one for Dagon. And these magic swords are supposed to be the only thing that can kill Blaze. So the game is supposed to be rigged so that nobody who shows up to Armageddon can actually win except those two.
Yeah.
Now, other games would tell us that's not the case. But for the purposes of Armageddon as a self-contained thing, if you ignore the sequels,
yeah,
let's just run with the idea that Blaze can't be killed by anything but these swords. Let's just, for the moment, pretend that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I guess we'll get into that later. Shao Kahn winning was clearly not the plan.
No, not at the time. But the fact that he can win suggests you don't need a Drake sword to kill Blaze. Anyway. So Argus is coming up with this idea, and he's devoting all of his time and energy to building this pyramid and setting all this up. Meanwhile, the realm that it's his job to protect is being conquered by Shao Kahn. and so the plan is, okay, well, to make sure that Taven and Dagon are both, like, nothing bad happens to them before Armageddon and they're able to fight at the pyramid, we're going to, like, seal them both in stone, and, like, they're going to sleep for thousands of years, and Blaze will wake them up when it's time. And so they decide, well, Delia is under attack right now, so let's hide them in Earthrealm. And Delia straight up asks, what happens if Shao Kahn goes after Earthrealm next? And Argus is like, that'll never happen. He's going to lose here. He's not going to take over Delia. And it's like, can I just suggest for a second, what if the protector god of Edenia and his powerful demigod sons and his sorceress wife were to fight Shao Kahn right now instead of fucking off to do this? Maybe if they were helping Jared and Sidel out, maybe Shao Kahn wouldn't have won the invasion.
They even have a couple of dragons around.
Yeah.
Very powerful, very dangerous, actual fucking dragons.
Yeah, giant Chinese serpent-style dragons, Orin and Karo.
Yeah.
They work for Argus's family, and he assigns them to guard the sleeping Taven and Dagon, which means for the next 10,000 years, they're not in Edenia, not fighting Shao Kahn. I wonder how Jared feels about Argus. You think these guys are friends?
I somehow really doubt it.
You think they get along?
Well, Jared is renowned for being wise and kind and benevolent, according to all available lore that we have. I really don't think Argus has friends.
Imagine, if you will, the cast of MK3, and Raiden never shows up. Like, doesn't even speak to them. Like, he's just disappeared because he's got something more important to do.
That's... Oh, man. It's so spectacular how idiotic this entire plan is.
I would suggest perhaps the successful invasion of Edenia, Shao Kahn conquering it, was directly Argus's fault for being a negligent protector god. That's what I might suggest.
That's why Delia started having these visions. This is where the future is going if your husband doesn't shape up his shit.
And speaking of Argus's character flaws, we also find out later in this game that he cheats on Delia, presumably fairly regularly, and has fathered a bastard son by the name of Rain.
Yeah.
Look at
we
all
finally
he's given
find
to
out
the
Rain's
world.
backstory is that he's a third son of Argus, but he's only the half brother of Taven and Dagon, because Argus is apparently
like Zeus.
Yeah, the Zeus of the Mortal Kombat universe.
What was it? I think it was in 11 where they said in Rain's ending that he was pissed off at his father because he had his mother like killed or hidden.
Oh yeah. They the mom's name was finally given. I think it was like Amara or something like that.
Something like that.
But the bit that they reveal in that ending is that she was Argus like killed her in order to hide that he'd been cheating on Delia with her.
Yeah.
I can actually 100% buy this bit of latter-day MK lore. The man is a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what the 11 ending says. Amara, when Rain was born, Rain was taken from her, and she thought the baby was stillborn and died of grief. And Rain was raised by peasants to hide his true parentage.
Still fairly terrible.
Yeah, that's still fucked up.
Anyway, the point is, Argus is not a good person. He's an idiot. And he thinks nothing can go wrong with this plan. That's probably one of the last things he said.
So from there, it cuts to the present day, where our deception has happened. Blaze has been freed from guarding his egg, and Shujinko has given him a memory potion so he remembers what he's supposed to be doing.
Nothing's going to happen. The plan is fine. My sons will wake up perfectly sane.
Yeah.
This giant fire golem, indestructible, indefatigable, incorruptible, foolproof.
So Blaze sends a message to Orin to wake up Taven.
But Kara was already woke up Dagon too early.
Yeah, let me get to that. So Taven is sent on the first part of his quest, which is, hey, go get your sword, the Blaze killing sword. And it's in a temple, in a jungle and Earth realm. This game. So this is a point of a pet peeve of mine.
Because it's not a real location.
Armageddon is the first game in the series that places fictional locations on Earthrealm. The Shaolin Temple is a real place in China. Johnny Cage is from Hollywood, California. Sonya Blade's from Texas. These are real world places. But Armageddon gives us the Botan jungle, which is where a temple to the worship of Argus and Delia has been hidden, and Taven is sent to this temple to go get his magic blaze killing sword. And when he gets to the temple, he finds that the place is being overrun by fighting between the Black Dragon Gang and the Red Dragon Gang. Now, the Black Dragon Gang is, of course, Kira, Cobra, and Cabal right now. And we joked a little bit last session about how much we were skipping over Kira and Cobra's stories. But they are the first two Mortal Kombat characters Taven meets. And this is obnoxious to me because one of the things we skipped over in the deception discussions was that in Kira and Cobra's arcade endings, which obviously don't come true, Cabal, the reason Cabal brought them to Outworld was a training mission. It was a test. And the final test to see which of these two gets to stay in the gang was that they were supposed to fight each other to the death. The Dark Knight Joker moment, snap the pool cue in half, we're having tryouts. That was Kira and Cobra are supposed to one of them's supposed to kill the other. And if you follow the endings, Kira wins and Cobra dies. But apparently that just did not happen. Every thing to do with like character development and moving story forward for the real MK characters, the people who aren't Taven, is just on pause. Whatever happened at the end of Deception, whatever was supposed to happen, ignore it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
They are stuck in a status quo holding pattern so that Taven can fight them. So he beats up Kira, Cobra, Cabal, goes inside the temple.
Dragon.
Yeah.
Tears Cabal's entire organization down completely. That's what happens to all of them.
I mean, theoretically, it's not a large organization. He just restarted the thing. He only had 3 people in the previous game, and now he has mooks all of a sudden. I don't know where he got those.
Goons. Hired goons. Doesn't matter. We're all done.
I guess.
The Black Dragon.
Yeah. So inside the temple, he fights... Was Su Hao in there?
No. I don't think so.
I think it was just goons. Just the red dragon, like the gimp suit guys.
Su Hao makes no appearance throughout any of Armageddon's Conquest.
You're right. But Movado does show up later. We'll get to that.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But inside the temple, after he gets past all the Red Dragon goons and gets to where his sword is supposed to be, he finds it's missing. Dagon has already been here, and apparently he took both swords. What a dick!
Yeah. Actually, there's kind of a weird, confusing moment, I think, at the end of Armageddon where Taven picks up what's supposed to be his sword, but the gameplay doesn't really reflect that.
Yeah, the model is a different sword than it's supposed to be, and that's because Taven, because throughout the game he's not supposed to have the Drake sword. He has a placeholder sword that's like a big giant Final Fantasy sword. And so when he finally does get his Drake sword from Dagon, they still use the Final Fantasy sword just because they were being lazy with the models.
Well, it's why Quan Chi still has the amulet, even though he shouldn't have it.
Yeah, they're just reusing his character model from Deadly Alliance. Most of Armageddon is made of reused assets, and that's how they were able to have an everybody's back cast. That's the entire reason that Armageddon works, is because it's the same engine as the end Deception, and they're reusing as much as they can.
And they still probably made what was roughly worth half of a roster of new characters.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, all of the stuff to do with like
Reiko, whatever the hell they were doing with Mataro, Kintaro.
Yeah,
Shinnok. They brought a lot of people back. Shinnok, Jarek, Kai.
Those guys all got new assets and stuff. I mean, they mostly have fighting styles that were in previous games.
Mostly. But they did do some work. Gotta give them credit.
A little bit. So when he finds that the swords are both missing, he gets ambushed by Sector. Which is the first time we've seen Sector since MK Gold, unless you count his little cameo in Deception.
Well, there is also Tournament Edition.
That's true.
He's been off conquering Japan.
Yeah. He's Sector has become a problem. He's got an entire clan of forcibly cyber-converted people called the Tekunin.
Yes, in fact, you can't ignore the Tournament Edition part of Sector because that lays the seeds for all of this.
Yes, his appearance at Armageddon is entirely based on the story he was given in Tournament Edition. So they're flying around in an airship, and they're such a big problem that Sonya and the military are constantly chasing them now.
Yeah.
And so when Taven awakens, captured by the Tekunin clan, he finds the airship under attack by Sonya and the quote-unquote Earth Realm Special Forces, which is not the U.S. Army Special Forces, and not the Outer World Investigation Agency. They've invented a third group for Sonya to be a part of for no reason.
Maybe they're just branching out, and they were going to be Outworld Special Forces and Edenian Special Forces. If I were Jax, I'd be making the preparations.
What if the Outer World Investigation Agency was already international? What if we just said that instead of this crap?
You just missed the OIA. I don't blame you.
It's a better name. That's all it is.
It went kaboom. It doesn't exist anymore. It went with Michael Bay. Wish blue. Thanks to Hal for that one.
Anyway, because of the attack on the airship, Taven is able to escape. And we do learn a little tidbit in these cutscenes that Sector is part of some kind of alliance with Shinnok.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll find out a little bit more about that later, but this is our first clue as to what's really going on behind the scenes here. So, why were these dragon gangs at the temple? Why is Sector working with Shinnok? Why did Taven's brother take both of the swords like a douchebag? Well, Taven, he escapes from Sector. He gets back home to the cave where him and Orin hang out now, I guess, where he was asleep for a while.
Yeah.
And Orin sends him, okay, well, the sword thing didn't work out, but the next thing is you got to get this magic armor, and this magic armor will help you beat Blaze.
And that turns out to be in the Lin Kuei Temple.
Yes, so we learn that the place that Sub-Zero has been holding the Lin Kuei up since he took over the clan. Like, he moved the clan from the headquarters they used in Mythologies because Sector knows where that base is. It is compromised. They need a new base. So Sub-Zero, he found this abandoned temple in the Arctic, which this game calls the region of Arctica, which is definitely a real thing in the real world and not made up bullshit.
Yeah.
Just like
you gotta
Boathead
let it
Jungle.
go, dude. Just because there are like places that are fake places doesn't mean the real places can't exist too. It's all one glorious whole. Where was Jason Todd killed again? What was it? Carbomia?
You're thinking of a Transformers cartoon, my friend.
Yes, I am.
I'm pretty sure Jason Todd died in Iran.
It was originally Iran. I think, actually, if you watch the freaking Under the Hood movie, like the Death of the Family movie now, Death of the Family, like they changed it to Bosnia/Herzegovina.
Well, they completely changed the whole backstory of those movies to it being a Ra's al Ghul thing instead of a Joker thing.
That too. But let's continue.
Yeah, so Taven goes to the temple where the Lin Kuei are living, because the reason the temple was just there and abandoned is because it originally belonged to Delia.
Well, I want to mention he has fights with Rain and Sonya before he gets to the temple.
Yeah, he's got to go through a bunch of like snowy tundra and run into people. And Sonya's like,
Sonya threatens to arrest him because she's Sonya and she's angry.
Well,
and
here's
Rain.
Here's the story behind that, is that we find out from the bios and endings that during the attack on Sector's airship, the airship crashed, the special forces was like rooting through it, and Jax went missing. So Sonya is now trying to find Jax. And since Taven was seen escaping from the airship, he is a suspect, and that is why Sonya is after him. She wants to question him because she's trying to find Jax.
And he gets a little further along the path, and then he
runs into Rain, and I think Rain does not reveal at this point that Argus is his father. He just calls himself a Prince of Edenia, which is not correct.
He thinks he believes it's correct.
Look, a god and a king are two different things. You need to be related to Jared and Sindel to be a prince, my friend.
Have you never read Dune? God kings, my friend. God emperors, even.
Yeah, that's if you crown yourself king and people worship you as a god at the same time. These
And
words have meanings.
Rain talks about himself?
Words have meanings. He's not a prince. He's just calling himself a prince because he's named after the artist Prince. It's Ed Boon doing a dumb joke.
No, it's not just that. It's how Rain sees himself. He is literally that arrogant. I've never had a problem with it.
Hercules isn't a prince.
But regardless, he has a fight with the Tengu, and
yeah, we meet the Tengu
clan. The Tengu clan.
So the Tengu,
of the Mortal Kombat series.
The Tengu are orange ninjas, which is something that's otherwise missing in this franchise.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of the leader of the Tengu clan, Wu Lei. They got a bird theme. He uses a scythe. It's like a big long beak. It's got the imagery is impeccable. Okay, they've got their gimmick down. I appreciate the Tengu clan.
They do look pretty cool. I'll give that to them. I do wish that they would gotten. I do wish that they would have gotten some sort of further shout out in the later game, but nothing.
It would be nice, wouldn't it? But
yeah.
So the Tengu clan's bit is that they also live in Arctica and they have territorial disputes from time to time with the Lin Kuei. So Taven, after he beats them up, is able to get directions to the temple from them, and then the player may optionally choose to murder Wu Lei in cold blood at the end of the conversation.
I feel like it's like one of those facetious choices. Like he's right there. And
yeah, like
your dialogue is like really.
He goes into the finish him stun. It's like you're gonna not do it. The player's gonna do it.
It's not a real choice.
You also get rewarded if you do it. A treasure chest appears if you kill him.
Yeah.
I'm afraid the Tengu don't exist after this point. For many reasons.
I would like to believe that Taven let Wu Lei live in canon, because it doesn't matter anyway. There is no sequel.
It doesn't. I like him too.
Just, if I was making a sequel, Wu Lei would get to be in it.
So, at this point, we continue on towards the Lin Kuei temple, past a bunch of very, very, very annoying rotating blade death traps.
Oh god, it's the worst level in the game.
It's the worst level in any game. It's mythology's level annoying is what it is.
Oh yeah. It's all these dumb instant death gimmicks that try to back you into a corner where you can't get away from them.
I think they're an actual reason why Taven is so upset later on in the story. He's got to deal with all that crap.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about Conquest Mode that particularly shows up in the Arctica level is Taven's personality. Shujinko was a people pleaser. He was a naive guy who would just, take whatever quest was given to him with a please and a thank you. Yes, Dabashi, I will do as you ask.
Yeah.
Taven doesn't have time for your shit.
Yeah. Taven is Mortal Kombat's version of Dante from Clerks. He was not even supposed to be here today.
He is an impatient, sarcastic man, and I love that about him.
He's a little bit relatable.
Yeah. I prefer him as a protagonist between the two, despite the blandness of his design and his name and his moveset.
I do prefer Shujinko, but Taven has his charm too. Now, as he is assaulted by ninjas for the second time, I must step away from the microphone for 5 to 10 minutes. I have a visitor. I'll be back.
I can take it from here.
You won't even notice I'm gone, literally.
Right. So Taven gets into the Lin Kuei temple, and the Lin Kuei, he's an intruder, so they attack him. And once he finally gets the chance to meet Sub-Zero face-to-face and explain why he's there, Sub-Zero is like, fine, explain this armor business to me. Show me what your mother left for you here in this temple that apparently used to belong to hers. I mean, it was abandoned when I found it. The Lin Kuei, we're not the trespassers here. This is ours now. But they don't really get the chance to, talk much because as soon as Taven dons the armor, the Lin Kuei Temple is attacked by Noob Saibot and an army of shadow ninjas.
We also missed he sets Frost free, which was a little confusing.
Oh, yeah. He finds a room in the temple that looks like the Cryomancer Caves, even though those are supposed to be an outworld. And he punches the block of ice Frost is in to set her free, and Frost is, delirious from having just woken up, and she mistakes him for Sub-Zero and attacks him. And he beats her up, and she runs away. Now, why this room looks like the Cryomancer Caves and why her block of ice is here instead of an outworld, that would be explained in Unchained, which we talked about last time. Unchained came out after Armageddon came out, though. So there were several months where us fans were very frustrated with this particular room of the building.
Because it contradicts what was said in Deception.
Yeah, it does. There's actually still no explanation for why it looks like the Cryomancer Caves. Like, the Cryomancer corpses, their tombs, are in the room. Whose bodies are these?
Move them from Outworld to the Lin Kuei Temple or something?
Yeah, now, if they had said, Sub-Zero wanted to preserve his family's stuff, so he sent the Lin Kuei to Outworld to bring all this, to do an archaeological thing, and this was like a museum room, that would have made sense. I would have accepted that easily. They do not say that. There is no explanation. They just don't bother.
Yeah.
All they give us is, Frost woke up from her block of ice at Outworld, came back to Earth, attacked the Lin Kuei, and Sub-Zero had to put her in another block of ice. That's it. They don't explain why the room looks like that. And I will point out, by the way, that this room, the Cryomancer Caves, and this room in the Lin Kuei Temple that looks like them, specifically has a logo on the wall of the Outworld Kamidogu, because it's supposed to be an Outworld.
Well, if I remember correctly, Vogel was frustrated because he wanted that to be an Outworld, but apparently the designers just put it in the Lin Kuei Temple.
I mean, they did the best they could, I guess, explaining this dumb bullshit choice. After the fact, I still think they should have said, he sent the Lin Kuei to do archaeology and bring his stuff back. That would have made more sense to me. I don't need Frost waking up and getting frozen a second time. But yes, Taven does fight her, and he, knocks some sense into her, and her, delirious, wait, you're not Sub-Zero, and then she runs away, so. Presumably the next time we'll see her, she will be less crazy than the last time.
Yeah, and for some reason she doesn't fight Sub-Zero, I guess.
Well, she just got her ass kicked. She's got to run away and, heal her wounds. She's in no shape to fight him again. Also, he's stronger than her to begin with. Would be if she were to fight him in Armageddon, it would be the third time she has fought him, and she lost the previous 2 fights.
Yeah.
So the Lin Kuei Temple's under attack by Noob Saibot.
Yeah. And
the reason Noob Saibot has found the temple and is attacking it, we would learn from the bios. Serena saved Sub-Zero from Noob Smoke previously, and she got captured for her efforts. And Quan Chi and Noob Saibot made her hand over the compass Sub-Zero gave her that leads to the Lin Kuei Temple.
No problem, man. Yeah, and we find out apparently that was a mistake by the designer Serena, because this is a later scene where Quan Chi has Serena and how do you say their names?
And Jitaka?
Yeah, with him, but everyone was like, "Wait, why is Serena with Quan Chi? She's not supposed to be working for him anymore." And Vogel said, "Yeah, she wasn't supposed to be there. They just put her there without telling me."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they thought it would be a cute reference. Hey, it's Jitaka and Serena back again. Remember Mythologies? But Serena has her fucking own story where she doesn't, she's a good guy. She ran away from those people. So they had to come up with a bio. That's one of the things Vogel wrote when he was doing the bios after the game came out. Okay, I will have to explain why Serena is back with Quan Chi. And it's because she got captured saving Sub-Zero and forced to work for Quan Chi. But we're not there yet.
Yeah.
So Noob and Smoke are attacking the Lin Kuei Temple, and they're using Smoke's nanites to turn Lin Kuei into shadow demons who are loyal to Noob. And Taven beats up Smoke, and Smoke runs away. And we don't see Smoke again until the intro.
And he's on the good guy's side.
Yeah, he's running with the good guys at the Pyramid of Argus. So apparently, Taven, punching him broke the reprogramming and he got his free will back. Good for him. Would have been nice to see it happen on screen. Would have been nice to get some text about that.
Yeah.
Nope, not this time. But yeah, so Smoke gets away. And then Noob Saibot. So Taven walks into the room at the end of this level where Noob has beaten up Kuai Liang. So the two of them have been fighting, and Noob Saibot won that fight. And then Taven saves Sub-Zero because he's the main character, Mary Sue, who does all the things in this game.
Yeah.
So at this point, Noob Saibot is knocked unconscious, and Sub-Zero says, I'm going to try and save my brother. Get him, break whatever spell Quan Chi has put on him. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Noob Saibot is not under a spell.
No.
Everything he's doing is his own free will. He wants to be evil. He likes it. Kuai Liang hasn't really interacted with Noob Saibot since Bihan became Noob Saibot. So he doesn't know that. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He's going to have to learn that his brother cannot be saved.
Yeah.
Now, we do see Noob Saibot in the opening, I believe, running around in the crater. I think he's on the bad guy's side.
Yeah.
If he's there at all. I actually can't remember if he is there at all. I think he's there in the crowd. I think he's with the bad guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he definitely escapes from Kuai Liang off screen after this. And, goes to the pyramid to try and get that power from Blaze. But yeah, so Taven at least has his armor. Dagon could not steal both suits of armor because the doors that the armors were behind were activated by handprint, as opposed to the swords, which were just hanging on a wall. So Dagon could take both swords, but he couldn't take both armors.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Taven learns from Sub-Zero where the Red Dragon gang hide out. Because, the Lin Kuei and the Red Dragons have had conflicts before. They're aware of each other. They're both members of the Earth Realm criminal underground. So, the assassin clans know each other.
Yeah. So
he tells Taven where the Red Dragon's hideout is. And so Taven tells Orin when he goes back to the cave, he's like, okay, well, I still need to get that sword back, and I need to figure out what's up with these Red Dragon guys and why they were at my dad's temple.
Yeah, and then that's where he goes, and that's when we find out that he meets Dagon and finds out he's actually been awake for quite a while.
Yes. So what has happened?
First he fights Fujin, but they didn't explain that.
Yeah, so Taven is sent to a place called the Crimson Forest, which I'm going to assume is in Japan because the reason it's crimson is that it's all cherry blossom trees. But they don't really say. They say it's the Crimson Forest is outside of a place called Charred Mountain, and Charred Mountain is where the Red Dragon base is. So Taven gets to the entrance of Charred Mountain.
Yeah.
And he finds he runs into Fujin.
Yeah.
And Fujin's whole bit right now is that he's like, I haven't seen you in 10,000 years. I haven't seen your dad in a long time. I don't know why an Edenian is running around Earthrealm. That's strange. I need you to go home and get out of my realm. We're friends. I'm friend of the family. But right now, something weird is going on, and I'm suspicious. I need you to take off. And Taven is like, I'm not leaving. These guys have been attacking me. I got to figure out what's going on. Fujin is like, I guess I got to fight you. Honestly, the dialogue in this scene, this excuse for these two characters to fight is really flimsy, and I do not like it. It's just an excuse to fight. You know, Fujin is supposed to be one of the calmer, more patient, more kind and friendly, more reasonable characters in the franchise.
Yeah.
And he comes off that way in this scene right up until the point where he's like, fine, I have to fight you. Like, no, you don't, dude.
Except for the fact that it's a fighting game, so we have to have a fight.
The scene just all of a sudden became bad writing to make them fight, which is a thing that happens very often in this game, and in Shaolin Monks, and in Versus DC Universe, a couple times in MK9 too. Like, eventually they got better about this, and they stopped writing these poor excuses for people to fight so badly. But right now, we are dead in the middle of it. This is the worst that it gets in Armageddon.
Razor, I disagree. Fight me right now.
No, what if I don't?
I don't know.
Aww.
I think it's like with social media, instead of like taking people's words out of context, maybe talk to them and maybe you can reason with each other.
I mean, that's the weird thing about this scene is they do talk, and Fujin still goes, I'm going to fight you.
That's where we are now. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
If I could just break in for a minute, the most fucked up thing just happened to me in a cool way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just went downstairs. I sold a large transformer for the sum of $350.
Mm-hmm.
Your voice. You said you're doing a recording?
Your mic's breaking up, dude.
He's like, what's the podcast? I'm like, the Nethercast. He's like, oh, I 100% know your voice.
Wow.
He recognized me.
That's weird.
Yeah. Right?
I'm not used to people actually listening to us.
I'm not used to people I meet knowing who I am. Sorry, Mike's still breaking up?
No, you're good now. You're good
okay.
now. Okay, so
continue.
So right. Taven knocks out Fujin and goes into the base. And in the base, he runs into I'm trying to remember the order things happening.
I think he meets Dagon first, and we find out that he.
Well, no, he definitely fights Movado before Dagon.
No. He meets Dagon, and then he fights Movado.
Right. Dagon
sticks Movado on him.
They have a dialogue scene, and Dagon leaves and sticks Movado on him. Yes, that's right. So this is the point where we meet Dagon for the first time. And the interesting thing is that Taven refers to Dagon as his younger brother. And Dagon looks much older than him, and this is because Dagon has been awake for longer and therefore aged while Taven was in stasis. But the weird thing to me is that other than the aging differences between them, their faces are nearly identical. So I think they're identical twins, and the younger-older thing is just who came out of the womb first.
It's possible. They share a similar facial structure. You could argue that Dagon's baldness is most likely not a choice. He actually did lose his hair.
Yeah, he's just older because he's been awake for longer. But they look like twins. And that's kind of weird because in their dialogue and the way they act, Dagon's whole motivation is that he's always been the inferior brother. Whenever they would play sports and compete with each other, Taven would always win, and Dagon is bitter about it. Yeah. But if they were identical twins, then he wasn't losing because he was younger and weaker. He was losing because he sucks.
Honestly, the whole thing kind of stems from pettiness and a healthy dose of insanity and paranoia.
Anyway. So Dagon reveals he's been awake for much longer. And what actually happened there is that when Blaze was first captured by Onaga's priests and forced to guard the egg hundreds of years ago, Karo, the dragon who was guarding Dagon, misinterpreted the fact that he lost contact with Blaze. He thought he mistook that for the signal to wake Dagon up. And so Dagon has been awake for hundreds of years, and he discovered, oh, I woke up too early. What's this quest Dad wanted to send me on all about? Oh, it's another me versus Taven thing. That's fucking great. And then he started he was contacted by Shinnok, and Shinnok got in his ear and started, telling him things like, hey, your dad obviously likes your brother more than you. He's the favorite, and the game is rigged in his favor. Doesn't that piss you off? And Dagon started to believe it. And so he went to go talk to Mommy and Daddy. And that talk ended with him using the Drake swords to kill Argus and Delia. At least that's what we are all led to believe.
Dagon thinks.
Yeah. Here's the thing: is I think Delia is really dead because we don't hear from her again.
No, I think she is. She is mentioned in Dagon's ending as still being alive.
He says that they're both. If you're going to take that ending as factual, then they're both alive. He says that they're both sitting there waiting in the temple.
All right, fair enough. But yeah, the thing is that Argus has faked their deaths. His son Dagon attacked him, and he let him believe that he killed them. And Argus is actually the narrator in the endings. Like, all the arcade endings are from his point of view. He's the first-person speaker, and he refers to himself in some of them. And the idea is that Argus has been hanging out with the Elder Gods in the Void, just watching what happens in the realms. Because the Elder Gods told Argus, hey, if your solution to Armageddon works, we're going to promote you to Elder God. Because, like, the whole idea of Argus is trying to figure out which one of his sons can replace him as protector. Well, where's he going to go? Like, if Taven becomes the protector god of Edenia, what happens to Argus? It's because Argus has been waiting for the chance to be promoted to Elder God the whole time.
Yeah.
So Argus is alive, but Dagon thinks he's dead. Dagon thinks he killed him. And Taven now thinks Dagon killed his parents. So that's the main conflict between them now.
Well, he finds that out, I think, when he goes to Karo. He doesn't find that out from Dagon.
I want to say Dagon admits to it in the dialogue.
No, that happens at the end of the conquest, not here. Yeah, Shad, help me out on this. I'm pretty sure that's right.
I would need to rewatch the cutscenes, but I'm pretty sure Taven is...
What's the question? I was spacing out.
When does Taven find out that his parents are dead, or at least that he thinks they're dead?
I said Karo tells him, and then Dagon admits to, like, at the end of Armageddon's conquest.
If I am recalling correctly, it is when Dagon tells him at the end. I believe he tells them there that... Hang on. Give me a moment.
I'm pretty sure he might have found out from Karo because that conversation happens at the end of this level.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he spends the entire second half of Conquest mode thinking his parents are dead.
Yeah. Well, actually, after the fight with Karo, after the fight with Movado, I guess we'll talk about that after Shad clarifies it for us.
Well, the point is,
Karo tells him.
Okay.
I am partially to blame. Long ago, I lost mental contact with the Firespawn blaze. I mistakenly took it as the signal to awaken your brother, but it was too soon. Reviving him early had unforeseen effects. Dagon was unbalanced. He was outraged that he had been manipulated by your parents and demanded to know the true nature of the quest. Did they tell him? Perhaps. Whatever he learned must have disturbed him greatly. He killed them both.
Well, there you go. So the order of events here is that Taven talks to Dagon, and Dagon reveals, I'm in charge of the Red Dragon Clan, I'm their founder, this criminal organization that you've been running into and fighting, they work for me. And the reason they exist is to help me win this quest, to help me beat you. And so then he fights Movado, and he goes back through the base like he's chasing after his brother, he bumps into
Kano real quickly.
Yeah, he runs into Kano, who has been, he was kidnapped at the end of Deadly Alliance. We talked about that. Movado beat him up and took him hostage, even though the ending shows him being kicked into laser beams.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's been kept alive for experimentation.
Yeah, the Red Dragon Gang is big on genetic engineering. They've been using the dragon DNA from Karo to create lizard man hybrids as super soldiers. And another aspect of this is that we find out at the end of this level that Reptile is currently working with the Red Dragon Gang because he figures out the Red Dragon Gang are basically offering to use this genetic engineering they've been doing to recreate the raptor race. And this is where Reptile's at now. This is the current option he's pursuing in his constant quest to bring his people back.
And to his credit, it seems to actually be working out this time.
Yeah, they are actually making lizard men. So the thing that's interesting to me is that in MKX Mobile, there are red raptors as like NPCs. And that's a different timeline, but still, it feels like a reference to Armageddon.
Nice, isn't it?
Yeah. I thought that was cool to see, and, you know, any chance to imagine what if the first timeline was still happening, you know? But anyway, so Taven bumps into Kano, and Kano reveals, so they kidnapped me, and they've been experimenting on me with the dragon DNA, which, you know, Kano isn't showing any signs of the experimentation because he's a reused asset from Deadly Alliance. If it was me, I'd have put some dragon scales on him, you know, played with the costume design.
Well, they basically
like, I don't know, a vestigial wing coming out of the back of his back.
What I would like to do, if it was me, is I would take away the metal eye plate. I'd have that part of his skull be a patch of black dragon scales and a lizard eye. I think that would be something unique and different to do with him, because Kano's the same every fucking time we see him. Let's do something else for once.
Well, he says they'll never finish because he's leaving.
Yeah, he has escaped and he's getting out of there, and he bumps into Taven on his way out. So,
and also,
Taven,
that's when he runs into Quan Chi in the...
Taven finds Quan Chi is like... Quan Chi has gotten one of the Red Dragon members to steal some information for him.
Yeah,
I believe the information that he's looking for is the location where the pyramid is going to be when it appears. Like, where in Edenia should we be going? And the Mook who has retrieved this information doesn't have like a USB drive or some paperwork. He's like, no, I memorized it. It's all in my head.
It's all up here.
So Quan Chi rips his head off and takes it with him.
As you do.
Yeah. So Quan Chi, Taven comes in the room, and Quan Chi gets out of there, and he leaves Kiyojitaka and Serena behind to fight Taven. And Taven beats them all unconscious, if not dead. Serena, we know, survived. She's in the fight at the crater.
I think she got knocked back to her senses or something.
Well, she was never like under any mind control or anything. She was just being blackmailed to fight with Quan Chi. So the moment Quan Chi is out of the picture, she can run away, because she is with the good guys in the crater fight, and her arcade ending is about her like helping Sub-Zero kill Quan Chi and all that stuff.
And according to her bio, she just feels really, really bad about the entire thing. Like, to the extent that she's like, "Oh God, this is what I am. I'm really a horrible demon.
Well, yeah,
I'm a monster." And
the thing is that Quan Chi is like guilt tripping and gaslighting her about her true nature as a demon. Like, he's telling her, "You don't belong with the human beings. You'll never fit in with them. They'll never accept you. You're an inherently evil creature. Look at how Sub-Zero ran away when he saw your true form." And so she just kind of like she joins the bad guy team out of like severe depression.
Yep. Unfortunate.
I mean, that's the character, you know. She's a self-loathing goth emo kind of chick. But
it's nice
but
to
she
see
does.
Kia and Jataka again, though.
Yeah, it's been a while for them.
Still the last time to date.
That was nice. They're still around. But
they might have showed up in an MK1 ending, I forget.
I think they're at least they're mentioned by name, because in 12 they say that Ashra has killed the two of them.
Right.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, there's always cage match.
There is cage match. I thought they looked pretty good in cage match. Cage match has a weird version of Serena, but Kia Jitaka turned out fine.
It did them great.
Kia looked good with the poofy 80s hair.
Good.
I liked it. Anyway, so Taven beats them and continues on, and then he runs into Reptile, and Reptile is I guess in charge of telling Karo what to do. Now the whole bit here is that when Dagon went nuts and turned bad and created the Red Dragon Gang, he, I don't know, locked up Karo. Like, he's got him in some kind of restraints hanging from the ceiling of the cave, and he forces Karo to open portals in order to send his gang from realm to realm to do their missions. And they are named after Karo. That's why it's called the Red Dragon Gang, because Karo is a dragon who is red.
Yeah.
So he's
Taven,
not happy about that.
No, at the moment that Taven finds Reptile and Karo, Reptile is pissed off and yelling at Karo because Karo is refusing to close a portal. And the reason Karo is refusing to close the portal is because Dagon has gone through that portal, and Karo knows Taven's coming, and he wants Taven to be able to follow Dagon. So Taven comes in, he beats up Reptile, he sets Karo free. Karo explains everything, how the Red Dragon Gang got formed, what happened to Argus and Delia, like we said. And he's like, Dagon went through that portal. You can catch him if you go through. And then the last thing we see, there's a still image and narration thing after Taven goes through the portal that says that Karo, goes on a rampage throughout Charred Mountain and kills the entire Red Dragon Gang.
I intend to stay here and destroy this atrocity Dagon has created in my name.
Yes.
When I am done, the Red Dragon will be nothing more than broken bodies strewn throughout the hollows of this mountain.
Yeah.
He's
I
upset.
always assumed that he went down. He probably.
Well, yeah, it doesn't say it explicitly, but it implies that in the process of destroying the base, Karo is going to cause a cave-in and die as well.
It feels very much like a suicide mission.
Like, the theme throughout Conquest mode is everybody Taven knows ends up dead. So that presumably includes Karo. Karo's going to sacrifice himself destroying the Red Dragon Gang.
Yeah, and we find out that while he was busy with this, Quan Chi was killing Orin.
Yeah, well, that's after the next level, because the portal Taven goes through takes him to the Nether Realm.
No. I think he goes to doesn't he?
That's after the meeting with Shinnok.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, that's definitely after.
I think that's kind of confusing about this is when Taven meets Shinnok. It's like he acts like he doesn't know why Shinnok's in the Nether Realm, but it's like, shouldn't that have already happened by the time he went to sleep?
Well, now here's the thing: a lot of people are unclear on when Shinnok went bad. Like, at what point in the Mortal Kombat timeline did he attack Earthrealm and get banished by Raiden? And this game implies that it happened during/after Shao Kahn's invasion of Edenia. So when Taven goes to the Netherrealm, Shinnok is like the first person he meets. And Shinnok is being attacked by Li Mei. And we don't know why Li Mei's in the Netherrealm. But Shinnok is basically pretending to be helpless and needs Taven to rescue him. And after saving Shinnok, Taven is like, what's an Elder God doing in the Netherrealm? And Shinnok explains a one-sided account of his difference of opinion with the Elder Gods about how much they should interfere in the affairs of mortals.
Yes, his version of events is somewhat skewed.
Yeah, so the point is, before Taven went to sleep 10,000 years ago, Shinnok hadn't gone bad yet. So Taven doesn't know about Shinnok turning and attacking Earthrealm.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are like, shouldn't have that have been before Shao Kahn did his stuff? Shouldn't that have been eons ago? I don't know how long an eon is, and those are figures of speech anyway.
See, the thing is, because of the cosmic scale involved when you picture things like Shinnok and the Elder Gods and fighting over entire surfaces of the planet, you tend to want to picture that far back in your head. It feels like it predates Shao Kahn's little skirmishes, if you want to call Shao Kahn's millennia of skirmishes little. But I can see where that comes from, because it was into my... I remember actually being kind of surprised by that fact that Shinnok
I thought
good.
I would have thought
invading Edenia.
I would have thought Shinnok turning bad predated all the Shao Kahn stuff too. But when you think about it, so 10,000 years ago, what's human history 10,000 years ago? And we're still just discovering agriculture. We're barely out of the caveman times. We don't have writing yet until 5,000 years ago. So when you think about human history and how long ago that really was, and then you think about, a lot of people have this mistaken idea in their heads that Raiden and Shinnok were fighting during the time of the dinosaurs. And the reason they think that is because they misunderstand some of the wording about what happened to Reptile's race. Reptile's race didn't live alongside the T-Rex, okay? They are evolutions of dinosaurs. Millions of years have passed. There were dinosaurs, and the dinosaurs gradually became dinosaur men. And that's what the raptors are. So the raptors lived alongside, ancient caveman human beings. The Saurians were then wiped out by the fighting between Raiden and Shinnok. But the story also tells us that when the fighting between Raiden and Shinnok was done, the Shaolin were founded. And the Shaolin built the Temple of the Elements to hide the amulet and all that stuff. So, humans were around when Raiden and Shinnok were fighting, okay? So you have to think about that when you're trying to figure out when all these things happened in the timeline.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so Shinnok is pretending to be, just a little guy who needs Taven's help, and he tells a story about how the Elder Gods banished me down here because I wanted to interfere in the lives of the mortals more. He doesn't say he wanted to take them over. He makes himself sound like the good guy.
It's a very skewed version of events.
Yes. So
involving myself in the affairs of mortals. Cough, cough.
Yes, but he tells Taven, now that I'm down here, I run things, but there's been a rebellion and they've kicked me off my throne, and I'm weak right now because the throne is the source of my power. So I need you to help me take my citadel back. So Taven fights through several layers of this, Shinnok's tower, and he fights... Now, all the characters that Taven encounters in the Netherrealm are later revealed to be illusions that Shinnok is creating, but they are all characters who should be in the Netherrealm. He bumps into... before he meets Shinnok, he has a fight with Draman. That's the real Draman. He has a fight with Motaro in one of the caves where you train at one of his obelisks. There's all these obelisks throughout the realms that Argus has left for Taven to learn moves from.
Moloch's down in one of those too.
Yeah, Moloch is in one of them, and Motaro is in one of them. And Motaro should be there because he's dead. He died at the end of MK3.
And Kintaro's there, I believe.
Yeah, when you're fighting in the tower, it's Shiva, Kintaro,
and Li Mei.
Yeah, Li Mei. Well, we don't know why Li Mei. And another one who's there is Havoc. Now, the interesting thing about Havoc is it could totally be the real Havoc, and it would make perfect sense. Because he's the kind of guy who just goes to realms and starts rebellions, right?
He could literally just be passing through.
Yeah, he could just be fucking around, and it's, not an illusion, it's the real Havoc.
It's kind of funnier if you're not sure.
Yeah. But Kintaro makes sense because he is dead, theoretically.
Could be
we don't know for sure.
We don't know.
Shiva makes sense because she is dead. We do know she's dead for sure. Motaro makes sense because he is dead. Moloch and Draman being there makes sense because they were last seen in the basement of the Deadly Alliance's palace, and the Deadly Alliance's palace blew up. So presumably they were sent back to the Netherrealm by dying. Li Mei, we don't know. Why is Li Mei in the Netherrealm? Well, she is acting like a good guy and saying that she's there to defeat Shinnok because he's evil. What was Li Mei doing the last time we saw her? She was maybe betraying the good guys because she fell in love with Onaga because of the mummy soul stuff? I don't know. That was an arcade ending. It might not have come true, but what if it did? What if they had to kill her? And now she's like in the Netherrealm and she's trying to repent because she's like come back to her senses? I'm just saying, Shinnok seems to have chosen people who are already in the Netherrealm to make illusions of. That's all I'm saying.
It is possible. Unless she's... I mean, that would kind of conflict with her being up on the good guy side, unless...
Yeah, but again, if she came back to her senses, after she died, you know.
Yeah, but the thing
then
is,
how does her
there's
being
nothing
at the
that
Armageddon
confirms
intro
this
work
feature.
between the two?
Well, here's the thing: is that when everybody's at the crater fighting for the Pyramid of Argus, there are many, many characters there who are currently dead. And so, how did they get there?
And
well,
we found out Shinnok let them all out of hell.
They don't say it explicitly, but there are enough of the bios where the story in the bio is Shinnok let me out of hell that it's obvious he did that for everybody. And he'd do that even for Li Mei, someone who's not on his side, because it doesn't actually matter what the sides are. Shinnok doesn't care about that. The only thing Shinnok cares about is that the fight, you know, the crowd at the pyramid be as large as it possibly could be, because unless everybody shows up, there won't be an Armageddon, and he just wants there to be a Battle of Armageddon.
Well, his plan is to take the power for himself.
Yes, but the fight will never happen unless he brings a big crowd, you know? So he's got to let everybody go.
I'm not disagreeing. I just feel like for simplicity's sake, for expediency's sake, it's a lot easier if Shinnok just releases a bunch of his own bad guys and joins up the Shao Kahn's bad guys.
Yeah, but then you don't have the numbers. He needs the numbers. Like, he needs to pump up the numbers. You know, 63 is rookie numbers. 64 is how many you won.
Most of the people down there are already like on the bad guy's side. Like Li Mei's like pretty much the only one who would be with the good.
I honestly don't think he was picky and choosy. Like he just opened portals and hey, everybody gets to go. Like I bet if you were to make Armageddon with like money and resources, there should be hundreds of thousands of NPC demons in the crater too. You know? Possible. Like it should look like MKX looked like, armies of Oni. You know?
They do mention, you know, Ki Chao energy at the end of Unchained. Yeah. So the implication is that you need especially skilled and talented people.
Yeah, you need
into the forces of nature itself and the cosmos.
The fighters at the crater who actually matter, who will cause Armageddon, are the ones who have special moves. But Li Mei has special moves, so you need her at the fight.
Anyway, this is all presuming that she actually died, which she may have.
I mean, we don't. It might don't know. But if she didn't die, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If she didn't die, if she's not in the Netherrealm, then how the fuck does Shinnok know who she is? She's not an important person.
He watches all. He sees all. His scouts
Why would Shinnok choose some rando little girl from Outworld to make an illusion of when he could have made an illusion of Johnny Cage or Liu Kang?
What I will say is this. Shinnok is probably watching the events that occur at the end of Deception very intently. Because he might have some guy out to do, this Dragon King asshole, he might have this guy out to do exactly what he wants to happen. So he might be taking notes about all the players involved.
Yeah, but Lee May wasn't really a player involved. She's just somebody who's also there.
He might see her and be impressed by her fighting ability.
I'm just saying, he could have made an illusion of Bo Raicho, and it would make more sense.
I like to think they use the Dragon Balls. Kamidogu kind of like the Dragon Balls of Mortal Kombat.
I would describe the Kamidogu more like the Infinity Stones of Mortal Kombat.
Well, they literally are in Chaos Raids, but sorry, Seth.
Yeah, but they don't give you any power at Chaos Reigns. Useless.
What's a Chaos Reigns?
Don't worry about it. It's not important. Anyway, Taven helps Shinnok get his throne back, which, by the way, is that also part of the lie, or does Shinnok, in fact, get his magic from the throne? Because if you remember the backstory of Shinnok, his Elder God powers are all in the amulet, and the amulet was taken from him. So if he doesn't have the amulet, he doesn't have any magic at all. So where does all the skeleton stuff come from? Maybe he really does need to sit on the throne of the Netherrealm to get magic.
There is something about the entire setting and the way that he comments on it afterwards, which leads me to believe that the entire thing is just a gigantic, elaborate ruse cooked up for Taven's benefit to slow him down.
It's possible.
That's the impression I've always gotten from the events.
It's possible. But I think the best lies have a kernel of truth in them. You know, Taven doesn't necessarily know how the magic of the Netherrealm and the power of, the throne works or anything like that. But what if he did? And what if he would see through that lie if you were going to, make some shit up? So let's make some shit up that is believable or is kind of true. Now, here's what I would do if I was, in charge of the Mortal Kombat universe. I would say the magic that Shinnok has when he's just the ruler of hell and doesn't have his amulet.
Sorry, Hector.
I would say that magic was stolen from Lucifer when he took the throne from him. Now, how does he get Lucifer's magic? What if he skinned Lucifer and upholstered his chair with Lucifer's skin, and when he sits in the chair, he absorbs Lucifer's magic? I think that would be a Mortal Kombat-ish concept. It fits with the gothy nature of the franchise.
I think you've been reading far too much Clive Barker, and I fucking love it.
See? You're with me on this. You like it.
Look, I have a lot to talk about in the subject of Armageddon because, shameless plug here, I essentially wrote my own version to fill in the events that happened to everyone else. I made up a bunch of behind-the-scenes bullshit, where's Jax? What's this guy doing? What's the deal with Chameleon? What's wrong with Cabal? What's always been wrong with Cabal? Shit like that. And as far as Shinnok getting his throne back comes from, I feel like in his absence after the end of MK4, there would have been a logical power struggle. And whenever he shows up, whenever that is, he might use that power struggle for inspiration at concocting said elaborate ruse for Taven's benefit. But if you actually want to talk about the stuff that I wrote, we'll probably need another episode because holy shit, dude. I went at it for a long time.
We'll talk. Yeah, we can talk about that later.
Yeah. I have my own ideas of where it would go if Armageddon wasn't necessarily the end, like if there were able to be sequels.
Yeah, I always assumed that after Armageddon they were going to do a next generation type of thing.
Well, they kind of sort of did.
Yeah, I mean, MKX feels like it could have just been the next game after Armageddon, and it would have maybe made more sense.
Well, I think that's what I think I talked about that the first stream we did. We're like, yeah, why didn't you just do this after Armageddon? You said, well, that's because they don't plan things ahead of time.
Yeah, no, and there was money in doing a remake. They were influenced by Street Fighter 4 being so much like Street Fighter 2. They wanted their own Street Fighter 4, and that's what MK9 is.
And J.J. Abrams' Star Trek.
Yeah, that too.
God.
Ed got real into fucking time travel movies, and it's a fucking shame. But anyway, so at the end of, Taven helps Shinnok take back the throne, and then he's like, so can you help me find my brother Dagon? I know he came down here. Shinnok is like, I can sense that Dagon has already left. I'll send you where he was going. And so Taven fucks off, and then Dagon walks out, because surprise, Shinnok was lying. Dagon's still there. And so there's a conversation between them where Shinnok is like, you know, your brother's stronger than you. Maybe I should be backing him instead.
I'm like, playing both of them like a fiddle. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Dagon's like, you promised that you helped me, and fucking Shinnok backhands him.
Like, well, maybe I love your brother more. Does that sound familiar? Does it? Do what I say.
Well, I think we established in the bios that Shinnok is kind of the real villain of Armageddon.
Yes, the whole thing is him, orchestrating another way for him to get power and escape from another realm and take over the universe.
It's there. All the seeds are planted. It's very obvious. They hint at it. They show a little bit of it. But we never got, like, that one cut scene anywhere that, like, has him popping up going, ha, you fools, I've tricked you all, as MK villains are wont to do.
Yeah.
It's such a damn shame.
It's all, like, this is another thing that Vogel used the bios to flesh out after the game came out.
Yeah. And also, I think we're getting ahead. Johnny Cage was the one who rallied the heroes, which is like... Yeah,
we'll get to that. But that Johnny's bio is the one that kind of makes it the most clear that Shinnok is the real main villain of Armageddon, and that Armageddon, it really is him taking another crack at MK4. But yeah, so Taven is sent back home, and while he was gone, Quan Chi was killing Orin.
Yep.
So Taven finds Orin, like, bleeding out but not quite dead yet, and Orin has used the last of his magic to hold open Quan Chi's portal so that Taven can go after Quan Chi. And so they say their goodbyes, Taven jumps through, and he finds himself at Shao Kahn's fortress in Outworld.
Yep.
And as Taven fights his way through Kahn's fortress, we learn that the reason Quan Chi is here is because Quan Chi, as Shinnok's #1 guy, which is odd because Quan Chi has betrayed Shinnok. He kept the amulet for himself, and he never outright, like, turned on him at the end of MK4, but he's been, a solo act for the past 3 games straight. But I guess, Shinnok is like, bygones, because I need you.
The Starscream excuse. It always comes down to the Starscream excuse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like,
even in all the shit that I made.
He's like,
up.
I don't trust you, but you're good at your job, so get out there.
I have Shinnok putting Quan Chi through some Hellraiser torture shit for a couple of months after he comes back, but then after that, it's right back to the Starscream excuse because I need you around.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is that Quan Chi did die at the end of Deception, so he'd just be trapped in the Netherrealm if Shinnok wasn't sending him on errands.
Yeah, and also, I guess we should talk about Shang Tsung got sent to Shao Kahn.
Yeah, so this is covered in the bios that when the Deadly Alliance and Raiden blew up, Quan Chi went back to hell because that's where he'd go when you die. Shang Tsung, his soul didn't go to the afterlife. It went to Shao Kahn because when Shang Tsung joined the forces of Outworld back in the day, he basically signed a contract that says, I'm selling my soul to Shao Kahn. It belongs to him. And so Kahn got Shang's soul, and Kahn went down to the flesh pits and put Shang's soul in
a new bot.
Shang keeps a bunch of, like, blank bodies, like skinless. It's Meat's origin story. This is where Meat comes from. He's one of
He has backups.
Yeah, Shang has backups, clone bodies of himself that are unfinished. They don't have skin. And so one of these things woke up and got free will and escaped, and that's who Meat is. But there are others.
Many adventures on the way.
Yeah. So Shao Kahn puts one of these souls in one of these spare clone bodies, and so Shang is walking around looking like Meat, and Kahn and Goro and Shang Tsung go to Li Mei's village and kill everybody, and Shag steals all of the souls of the village in order to heal himself and get gross skin and finish the body. And now he looks like normal Shang Tsung again. Poor fucking Li Mei, man. Cannot catch a break.
Yeah, I have her as being alive to witness said events.
You know what? Maybe that's why she's in the Netherrealm. Because they fucking killed her with the village.
Oh, that'd be terrible. I'd hate that so much.
Yo, that's not better than my original idea of her, having to be killed because she sided with Onaga.
She's the fucking Miles O'Brien of MK? Or is that Reptile still?
Li Mei must suffer. So the thing is, you could argue Reptile deserves some of the suffering because he's a fucking coward and a weasel and eats human flesh. Li Mei hasn't done anything to deserve this shit. Why is it always gotta be like this? Why must it be this way? But yeah, so the village of Sundo is
with size.
So, it wasn't bad enough that the Deadly Alliance enslaved the village of Sundo and forced them to build a palace. Now they're all dead. So yeah, Taven is going through the palace, and he finds out that Quan Chi, Shang Tsung, Onaga, and Shao Kahn are all meeting up to discuss their plan for Armageddon, how they're all gonna form a big army and fight together at the pyramid. Even though we all know that the moment they get there, they're gonna turn on each other, and they basically they outright say that's what's gonna happen. But
yep.
There's some very strange dialogue before that point where Quan Chi is like, if we don't work together, it could be the end of darkness.
I know how much you hate that.
What does that mean?
Oh,
okay.
And also,
the forces that they represent, because they are the forces of darkness.
Do they all believe in the concept of, a shared religion of evil? What the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah,
that's
do they all worship the dark side of the Force? What the fuck?
It's right there in Noob Saibot's trilogy ending, man. He worships an evil and mysterious fallen elder god. That's what the Brotherhood of Shadow has always been about.
Okay, but Shao Kahn doesn't worship Shinnok. Shang Tsung doesn't worship Shinnok. Onaga, what's Onaga's stake in whether or not it's the end of darkness?
He's speaking for his own beliefs, and they're just temporary allies.
What is this philosophy he's busting out at this fucking meeting?
Do you think that Kenshi believes in the forces of light? Hell no. That man's got people to stab. They're just aligned.
Kenshi cannot see light and darkness. He's blind.
I'm just saying, it doesn't run for everyone, man. Don't focus on it too much.
I don't think Quan Chi really believes in darkness with a capital D as a driving life motivation. That's ridiculous.
The Brotherhood of the Shadow.
The Brotherhood of the Shadow. The Brotherhood of a Shadow is a cult that they don't worship darkness, the idea of it. They worship Shinnok.
Darkness here is used as shorthand for evil. You know that, okay. Yes?
Yeah, but
all things, anti-life and bad.
Quan Chi does not worship evil. He worships himself.
He's still in the service of Shinnok. That's what he does. And he probably believes Shinnok's shtick too. He just wants to be the guy on top of the throne.
I don't think Quan Chi believes in anything except using other people to get ahead. I think it's all about...
Quan Chi 100% enjoys gleefully doing horrible shit to people. I think he relishes in it.
Yes,
he lives to make people like Hanzo suffer, and he knows it's awful. He knows it's hideous, and he goes to sleep every night with beautiful dreams.
I think he does that because it's fun, not because it's a religion.
I think it can do both. Love what you do. You'll never work a day in your life.
Okay, well, I have never before or since heard anybody in this franchise refer to capital D darkness that way.
It's natural, the forces of light.
I also think the
light.
phrase "the forces of light" has always been corny as fuck.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm not a fan of it.
And they used it constantly in MK versus DC.
I'd rather they call themselves, the champions of Earthrealm or whatever.
So does the Order of Light work for you?
The
Yes or
Order
no?
of Light, the Order of Light is an actual Buddhist monastery. Okay? That being the name of a religion is fine.
So why can't you take that aspect of light and just apply it to forces of light? Why must you? Why the pedantry? Let's just move on. Okay?
I just think it's bad writing,
And
that's
I
all.
think, actually, here's something I always bugged me is Raiden has agreed to work with Shao Kahn. It's like, that Raiden, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, so that's the next thing. So before, so as Taven is, working his way through the fortress to get to and fight Quan Chi.
He fights. Actually, there's something interesting we didn't cover. Reiko. He meets Reiko. Reiko's like,
Yes.
I'd like you kill Quan Chi, but it's like, why do you want to see him kill Quan Chi so bad?
Well, so first he bumps into Melina, and Melina tries to stop him, down in the dungeons, and I mean that's typical Melina stuff. Nothing special to say about that.
Yeah.
She finds him hot. Then
he gets to the central area of the dungeon, and he finds Shujinko locked up down there.
And we didn't know why he was there.
Well, Shujinko explains why he's there. Shujinko says that I was locked up trying to get into, the four big guys are in a meeting up there, and I'm pretty sure I can kill all of them because I'm Shujinko.
And I love how Taven just kind of mocks him. He's like,
yeah, Taven doesn't believe him, but here's the thing. I believe him. I think Shujinko could do it because Shujinko can just copy all their powers at the same time and rainbow punch them to death.
Yeah, actually, well, if I remember correctly, in Shujinko's Armageddon ending, doesn't he go mad with power?
Yeah, I think so. I think
he does.
I mean, the Armageddon endings, they're not great.
That was one of the more believable ones, sad though it may have been, but it's not exactly four magic swords.
Yeah, I mean it's not a far leap for Shujinko to go mad with power because he already has a bit of an ego and the ability to be the most powerful character in the franchise.
If I remember right, Shujinki Dink is one of the ones that got the bios.
Shujinko does have a bio, yes, and it explains why he's in the dungeon. The full story is that after defeating Onaga, Shujinko became a folk hero to the people of Outworld. And he received an invitation to meet with Princess Kitana. But he knows for a fact that Princess Kitana is currently in Earthrealm trying to help Liu Kang not be a ghost anymore. So he knows that this invitation is a fake, and what's really happened is that the invitation was sent by Melina. So Shujinko knows that he's walking into a trap, but he decides to spring the trap anyway because he's like, I'm Shujinko, I'll kill them all.
There's something else. He plans to kill them by entering Shao Kahn's soul chamber, because there is a soul chamber somewhere down below.
Yes.
And he says that from there he'll be able to destroy Shao Kahn and his allies in one strike. He suggests that Taven leaves quickly because he can't guarantee his safety, which seems to imply that he's planning to blow up somehow the entire soul chamber and the entire castle and kill everyone present, probably including himself. Indeed. Which is interesting to me because his bio has him feeling kind of really remorseful and guilty about being the person who allowed Onaga to come to prominence again in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, that's a continuation of how he felt in Deception.
Yeah, so I feel like there's he's still wrestling with a lot of guilt, and he might be feeling like an urge to absolve himself by going out with a bang and taking care of big problems.
Indeed.
That's how I look at it.
So Taven lets Shujinko out of the dungeon, and Shujinko goes off on his suicide mission, I guess. But we never get a chance to find out how that goes, because Taven then gets to the upper levels first, and he he runs into Reiko, and they have an interesting conversation, and we get to know Reiko, his personality for the first time, because it's not like the guy had any dialogue in MK4. He was just straight up mute in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing about Reiko in Armageddon is that he's kind of the most intelligent and charismatic villain in the entire franchise based on this single scene alone.
He gets like 30 seconds of dialogue, and it gives him such personality and charm and dignity. And like he just mentions casually that he would love to see Quan Chi dead. And based on the way he's presented, and based on the way that Quan Chi's also been presented, you can absolutely see it.
Yeah, well, so you fight. You run into Reiko right outside the throne room. Like, he's the last guy guarding your way into attack Shao Kahn and his allies.
Before or after?
Yeah, you do. You fight Goro before that. You fight Goro on a balcony, and there's some sort of dialogue between them that sort of like Taven is making fun of Goro for being like a toady who works for Shao Kahn.
Yeah, they just stuck him on guard duty.
Yeah, it's kind of sad for Goro, honestly, because
it honestly depresses me.
You know, it rubs salt in the wound of like, where's your Shokan pride? This is where you are now after Deception ruined your character, and we're not gonna worry about that. The Reiko scene is so cool because so Reiko comes out right after you've beat, you know, the mooks in that room, and he's like, I'm impressed, those were elite guards. And Taven's like, if you say so. And they have this, you know, very cordial conversation where Reiko basically offers, hey, Taven, you're such a good fighter, why don't you join Shao Kahn's army? You'd make it far here. And Taven's like, yeah, I don't really side with like dictators and shit.
Deranged like, megalomaniacs.
And Reiko's just like,
I'll have to kill you.
Reiko's like,
yeah, it's just,
I'd like to see him die.
Yeah, you know, Reiko's like, that's a shame. I guess we have to fight now. But there's no anger. There's no, like, Reiko doesn't have a temper. I always compare, what I love about this version of Reiko is that he reminds me of Grand Admiral Thrawn in the Star Wars novels, like the EU version.
Yeah.
There's that.
Like,
very polite.
There's a very, very well-established like archetype of the smart, classy, but ultimately really cold-hearted military type of individual.
Yeah,
and
like
that's exactly what Reiko tapped into.
He's cultured, and he's like a strategist and a master planner, and he's very like, he's just got his shit together. Whereas, you know, like Shang Tsung, Quan Chi, Shao Kahn, when things don't go these guys' way, they start screaming and throwing a fucking tantrum, you know? Reiko's the smart one.
He collects art. We know it.
So yeah, Reiko is probably, I mean, based on this one scene in Armageddon alone, I think Reiko's my favorite villain in the franchise.
Oh, I wish we'd gotten more. I really do.
Yeah, right. And he's kind of nothing like this when he, you know, the current timeline. We don't have to talk about that.
You know, I can actually also envision a scene where you could take that NPC dialogue from Deception and just have him go, yes, I sneak into his room at night and try the helmet on. It's a very exquisitely crafted piece of armor. I would like it for my collection. You could make it work. You could.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the other thing is that, like, look, the helmet thing became a joke, like, in Deception. But it's the crown of Outworld. He just wants to be the Emperor. You know, like he wants to be where Shao Kahn is.
Just saying, you could spin it any number of ways.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, if I fail, it's a great irony that it will allow the death of Quan Chi.
Yeah. He's just like, you know, I've worked for Quan Chi. That guy's an asshole. It'll be kind of funny if you kill him. I'm not worried about that. So you get past Reiko, and we get this cutscene in the throne room where the four villains are talking to each other, and then they walk off to go to the pyramid. And the then Raiden shows up to fight Taven, and you go, Raiden, why are you here? What's going on? And Raiden's like, I cut a deal with Shinnok to get rid of you, to get you out of the way, and in exchange, Shao Kahn and Shinnok will leave Earthrealm alone. Like, yeah, sure they will, buddy. This is Dark Raiden. He's also, Raiden's bio says he knows they're not going to honor the deal. He's just trying to get close enough to them to stab them in the back. Well, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Nest of Vipers doing Nest of Viper things. We all know.
Yeah, so anyway, Taven fights Raiden and knocks him out, and then he travels through the portal.
He goes to Edenia.
He goes to Edenia.
Let me tell you something. When I remember this part coming up with Scorpion, I remember after that cutscene played, I very audibly say, "Oh, that is bullshit."
As did we all.
So Taven arriving in Edenia. The first guy he encounters is Scorpion, and Scorpion says that he's going to prevent Taven from saving the realms from Armageddon. He wants the universe to end because he has a grudge against the Elder Gods. And they
resurrected his clan.
Yeah, so
as
he
actual zombies, as actual living dead.
He had a deal with the Elder Gods that if he acted as their champion and helped defeat Onaga, that they would repay him by bringing back the Shirai Ryu clan. And they did bring them back, but they brought them back as the undead.
But wait, why didn't he ask for his family back?
I presume they were included in the deal? Look, his wife and kid do not show up as zombies for Taven to punch. I'll tell you that much. Yeah. It should be
noted while we're talking about this.
Yeah.
One of the major bits of partially completed works for this game that never made it, but is on the cutting room floor, is that we were going to be able to go to some version of a Shirai Ryu village.
Yes, there was a if you look into the crypt of Armageddon, there is like a commercial for the game that was made well before release, and it had some like cut content visible in it, stuff like Taven was going to be able to use a bow and arrow. There was going to be like more to the Crimson Forest stage where you'd be like actually exploring it as opposed to it being like this one room where you fight Fujin outside of Charred Mountain.
They most definitely wanted you to encounter more members of the cast along the way.
Yes. So it seems like at some point earlier in the game, like back when we were doing Earthrealm stuff, you were supposed to be able to visit a ninja village. Presumably the village of the Shirai Ryu clan. And if we had gotten that version of the story, they probably would have done a better job fleshing out what Scorpion is up to post-deception and him having his clan back, but them being undead. And maybe his attitude towards these events would have made more sense.
That's exactly what I was alluding to.
Since the village was cut and the game was made in a rush, they made up some bullshit so that they could make Scorpion a boss fight. All they care about is that Taven gets to fight Scorpion. So we need to make Scorpion antagonistic.
And I think it's the same motto why we got Scorpion as a boss in Shaolin Monks, even though he would have no reason to fight Liu Kang and Kung Lao.
I mean, they almost made it make sense in Shaolin Monks. They could have tied it better to the fact that you're hanging out with Sub-Zero. But
he wants to kill you too.
Why?
We'll never know. We'll never know.
He's just that angry.
But what we do know is that in Armageddon, Scorpion is mad that his clan are undead. Even though... So I'd like to just posit a few thoughts here. A few facts to consider. Scorpion himself, as a specter... What is the difference between him and a living person?
He can't die.
Yeah. He is immortal, and he has superpowers. And by the way, when he takes his mask off, he doesn't have to peel his face off. He chooses to do that. He could walk around with a face if he wanted to. So if his entire clan has the same powers he has, isn't that better than being alive? Because now it's way harder to ever kill them a second time, right?
The thing is, you can't really speak to the logistics of being a dead person. You don't eat. You don't need food. You probably don't ever sleep. And Scorpion just feels this constant rage building inside of him all the fucking time. It's probably not a natural thing. I don't think it feels good to be dead. I don't think your skin's real. If you feel pain even, like... They even said that Moloch and Drummond said that they can't consume him because it's not real meat or flesh. It's just specter stuff. It's phantasmagorical gobbledygook.
Well, true.
I don't.
But isn't that still better than being in the Netherrealm for eternity as a soul being punished for your sins?
Maybe, but you're still walking around with the flesh falling off of you.
Because
like,
here's the thing.
really
Like if you think about the fact that his wife and kid are not among the group that was raised, his arcade ending actually suggests that his kid is one of the people who was resurrected. But that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and arcade endings aren't canon, especially in this game. Like, a lot of the arcade endings in this game are just straight up fucking nonsense, so I prefer to ignore them as much as possible. But for the purposes of argument, let's say that Harumi and Satoshi were not included among the resurrected clan, specifically because their souls weren't in hell, they were in heaven. Those two are innocents. They went to the good place when they died. Whereas the members of Scorpion's clan went to the Netherrealm when they died because they're all ninja murderers. They kill people for money and whatnot.
What were you going to say, Chad?
I just, even if it's true that, in the MK universe, good people, generally speaking, go to the good place and bad people go to the bad place and follows the traditional mores and structures and norms of the typical Christian and Catholic religions and whatnot.
I mean, that's what mythology says.
It's what mythology says. It's true. But just the fact that you believe in this universe so wholeheartly, that you believe good people will go to heaven.
Johnny Cage did, and he's kind of a dick.
I'm just saying, it's...
I just look, Harumi was a housewife, and Satoshi was a child. He's like 5 years old at best every time we see him.
Yeah. I can't deny that. This is probably a thing that I want to talk about more if I get around to talking about the stuff that I wrote. But
all I'm saying is, I don't think that there's a good way to justify Scorpion's reaction to the fact that, from my point of view, the Elder Gods have given him a gift that is arguably better than just bringing them back to life normally. The Elder Gods, first of all, it's kind of out of line to ask for the Elder Gods to take, like... How big is the clan? Like 30 dudes? 50 dudes?
It's not 50 dudes, dude.
It's probably smaller than that, but let's say...
I give it 150. It's... 30 people isn't a clan. It's a loose association.
Okay, but they died in like 1990. Ninjas are like declining, I don't think the Shirai Ryu was in a healthy place when they were murdered.
But it was still a village. It wasn't 5 houses and a shack, dude.
Okay, yes, but we only know that the ninjas came back, not the whole village.
Anyway, I question your view on what constitutes something good when you're talking about walking
I
around in the living
think that it was presumptuous to ask in the first place that the Elder Gods pardon a bunch of prisoners who committed very real crimes and then died.
Yeah.
They did a nice thing for him, and he's being an ungrateful little bitch about it.
I mean, this requires you to... Again, I don't think the Elder Gods are exactly the most omnipotent of beings, the way that we're used to seeing gods portrayed as. But I feel like they understand, please bring back the people in the clan I love to life. That's understood.
Let's talk about another thing regarding this deal. The premise of the deal was that I will kill Onaga for you and you will bring your clan back for me. But Scorpion didn't actually kill Onaga. He was just in the room when Shujinko did it.
So do you think that this implies that they're punishing him for failing?
No, I think that they are giving him half of what he asked for and that it's more than he deserves.
Your view of the Elder Gods is a strange and bizarre one.
No, my view of Scorpion is that he's being a douchebag.
I mean, he always kind of was. That's why he's where he is in the first place.
Yeah, but he's so much more reasonable in, like, Mortal Kombat 2 and 3.
Look, I mean...
Like, it's a different character in Armageddon. He's being fucking weird.
The problem is... you need a proper justification for him to be this angry. We don't have piece B of A to C. That's what's missing.
Speaking plainly about it, he's being written incredibly poorly to justify an unnecessary boss sequence.
Well, one thing I want.
What I will say is this: based on what he is seeing and experiencing, there are legitimate reasons for him to be as pissed off and angry and arguably kind of insane considering everything that he's gone through as he is. We just don't have a good reason.
Well, you know what's interesting to me is that Deception never even mentions the idea of a quid pro quo. Scorpion is just acting as the champion of the Elder Gods because somebody needs to save the universe. He lives in it too, and he doesn't want to see it destroyed. There was no talk of a reward until the sequel where he doesn't like the reward that he got. Now, I can fix this in like 5 minutes. Here's what you do. You have Scorpion didn't ask for the clan back. Let's say the Elder Gods said, okay, Onaga's dead. You did your job. There's other jobs for a champion to do. We'd appreciate it if you keep working for us. You're going to need some help. What if we gave you an army? Here's the Shirai Ryu, and they all have the same powers you have. That's a good army, right? Now, Scorpion, here's your next mission. Armageddon's going to happen. We'd like to help you. We'd like you to help stop that. So we're going to send you and your army to Edenia to deal with this pyramid shit and make sure things don't go off the rails. Now, Scorpion takes his army to Edenia. When he gets there, maybe Quan Chi, does what Quan Chi does with his stupid fucking memory spells like an MK9, and he makes Scorpion think I asked for X and they gave me Y, and I'm bitter about it. Fuck the Elder Gods. Maybe if you say that's what happened, suddenly the whole story hasn't actually changed. You still get your Taven versus the Shirai Ryu fights. You still get him, chucking zombies at giant fire-breathing skulls on the side of a cliff and what the fuck ever. But now Scorpion's not out of character. He's just under mind control. And you can have the arcade endings resolve it. What about that?
Well, for the record, the way that I did it, if anyone's curious, is I had Quan Chi deliberately take down Scorpion a couple pegs by a convoluted plot, which he cooks up with Shinnok's benevolence, by using Havoc, who, based on his past history with Cabal, literally drives people unstable and insane while he's around them. So I have Havoc hook up with Scorpion, whisper little half-truths and lies into his head, bring him to Earthrealm, which is where Shinnok and Quan Chi resurrect the Shirai Ryu. That's what you see. It was never the Elder Gods. They just beat the Elder Gods to the punch. And Scorpion just believes the Elder Gods have turned on him when they just didn't have the chance to give him what they wanted. And they couldn't, because the universe is too unstable, because everything is falling apart, because Armageddon is happening. Bada bing, bada boom.
Well,
done.
Here's what I wanted to say is that Vogel has said in his reasoning, the Elder Gods are just assholes. That's his whole motto when writing the Elder Gods, is that they're just jerks.
Yeah, see, that's shitty. I don't like that.
I don't like that either. It's childish. You need to, like, if you're trying to make the universe make sense, then you need to portray the Elder Gods at the very least as people consistent with how they acted in, like, Mortal Kombat 3, where they, let Raiden help save the universe, where they, protected the people of Earthrealm because they actually don't want Shao Kahn to take over. At least not without a fight. Like, they cared about making things fair. They always did what they did. Like, the reason the Mortal Kombat tournament exists is so that the mortals would have a fair chance to fight back against the forces of Shao Kahn instead of being steamrolled by a God King who had powerful magic.
Do you know one of the nicest parts of MK Annihilation is, honestly, it's underrated bit. It's the fact that they go through the trouble of bringing Raiden back to life after he's died, And it feels like a movement of benevolence, like a moment of, like, we're going to set everything right. You didn't deserve this, because it's nice to believe that you live in a universe where the gods actually give a shit.
I mean, they could, at the very least, they should be a neutral force whose existence is about, like, making sure the wheels keep turning and the universe doesn't fall apart. Because if the Guardians of Reality in your fictional medium are actively just assholes, then all you're doing is creating a bleak setting that's bound to become dystopian.
It's unsatisfying at its core.
It's like that scene in Green Lantern 2011 where, like, I think Sinestro goes to the Guardians, like, oh, I think Parallax might be coming back. We might do something about that. He's like, are you guys really going to be morally ambiguous here in the first movie?
I cannot believe you remember any of Green Lantern 2011.
No, I remember that.
I remember that Parallax looked like a fart cloud. That was a choice.
Right. He was a bunch of, like, smoky tentacles.
I remember
he was explicitly brown instead of yellow.
I remember how
Jordan
was an unlikable asshole most of the movie.
I never thought Ryan Reynolds was good casting for Hal. We don't need to talk about this fucking movie.
Ryan Reynolds doesn't think Ryan Reynolds was good casting for Hal. Exhibit A, Deadpool.
Yeah. Anyway, so Taven, knocks out Scorpion. And then Blaze shows up, and so there's this weird bit where Scorpion has, like, teleported Taven to the Netherrealm to fight him, and Blaze he's like, you're not where you're supposed to be, I'm sending you back to Adedia. And then Taven and Dagon encounter each other, and Blaze is like, you two aren't supposed to fight yet, do it at the pyramid. And they're like, fuck off, Blaze, we're gonna fight right now, I'm tired of this. And that's kind of the end of it. Like, Taven beats Dagon and takes his sword back, and then sets out to the pyramid. And
that's when the intro mostly happens.
Yeah,
I really do love the moment where, like, he's looking across the balcony and seeing the entire pyramid rise, and you can hear them going to war down there. It's really nice.
Yeah, there's crowd noises and.
Actually, one of the things I find funny is that why would Scorpion be on the evil side? Because he's running next to Quan Chi. You think he'd be, like, really trying to get him as soon as he could.
Look,
he wants everything to end.
Here's the thing that bothers me the absolute most about the opening cutscene is that the developers wanted so badly to have two armies running at each other that they never gave a shit about the fact that doesn't make sense. Like, there should be, like, Havoc should be... Okay, you have one army coming in from, like, the east, and one army coming in from the west. There should be individuals coming in from the north and the south who aren't on either side. Like, why does it have to be two sides when some of these characters are neutral?
I try not to think about it all that much, and I just look at it
It's
as
a
series
three-dimensional space. There are other directions.
The way that I made this work is that it's all the good guys being together makes a shit ton of sense, and you don't really need to think too hard about that. That's Johnny, and that's Lou's Spirit, and that's Katana, and Sindel, and that's everyone getting everyone together for one final push against the forces of capital D, darkness.
Why is Nitara one of the bad guys?
I don't know. I wish she had actually had some sort of process.
I don't know.
I feel like she was going to, but
Nitara has a bio. Like, her and Ashra have a whole subplot in which Nitara is the good guy and Ashra is the bad guy. And the intro does not care.
Nope, it does not. But in terms of most of the rest of the bad guys, you lean back on the whole uneasy alliance trope. You flesh out what's actually been presented to us in that throne room with Shao Kahn and Onaga and Quan Chi and Shang Tsung. They're having their top dogs keep the rabble under control. No one tears anyone else's throat out. Pent up your frustration and let it out on the good guys, because they're our immediate problem. We can tear each other apart later. Sure, yes, there are outliers like Nitara. I think I had an explanation for that in my bios. I don't remember. But she could have come to Edenia looking for see, there it is. That's why she's in Edenia. She's trying to find some means of defeating the Blade of Ashra's. An obscure Edenian prophecy they found might hold the key. It describes a force of great power concealed in a crater. I was commanded to find this power and use it against our foe. She might just be hanging around the bad guys because she knows that they're all going after that power too.
Well, why are Hotaru, Havoc, Darius, and Dairu all on the same side?
Well, that requires, as does much of Armageddon, a magnificent display of bullshit, which I penned exquisitely and we don't have time for now. But I made it work, and I'm particularly proud of that.
Well,
I'm just saying.
What I find funny is that, like, Scorpion should theoretically still be knocked out when the battle is about to start. So,
nah, it's been like 5 minutes. That's enough.
People get up from being unconscious all the time, right away.
Honestly, if you are ever knocked out and you're out for more than like a few seconds, you should go to the hospital, because that's permanent damage.
Yeah,
it's not actually healthy to be unconscious. Like, when a boxer gets knocked out, it's usually a quick blackout, and then they regain consciousness fast, unless they have a bad concussion.
Unconsciousness does not work in fiction the way it works in real life. It's
it's not taking a nap. You get back up, or you are fucked.
Yeah. Well,
also, Scorpion is undead. How unconscious can he ever really be?
True. Well,
it's like a PC going to
you're gonna give a skeleton brain damage. So
here's two things I want to point out about the battle that are kind of interesting to me. Like we see Onaga grabs Shao Kahn and flies off of him just so he can kill himself. But
yes,
you're expecting me to believe that Shao Kahn somehow got free of Onaga and went all the way back and killed Blade.
Well, I have no problem believing Shao Kahn got free. He could just hit him with the hammer and then fall 500 feet and then live. It's the how did he get back fast enough to be the first guy to beat Blaze part.
Shoulder charged.
Yes, a mile across the Edenian desert. Ha! Hwa! Ha! Hwa!
All the way. It's like Lake rolling. But if you must, what I tend to think of in my mind's eye is that, like, he wrestles with Onaga. He flips back up onto Onaga's back midair, grabs him by the horns, turns him around, and steers that fucker right back toward the pyramid and crashes him into the side of it or whatever.
Yeah, he could use Onaga as a little airplane to fly back.
We just didn't see that part.
The thing I find interesting is that zombie Liu Kang basically intentionally goes for Shang Tsung.
Yes. It's clear that the zombie remembers who broke its neck.
There's little like memories still floating around in there when the synapses are firing.
You know what I like? A pyramid has 4 sides. Everybody only runs up the one.
Don't think.
How come none of them thought to go around and sneak up the back, man?
Where do you think Chameleon is?
Why are they using the stairs? Half the cast can teleport.
My favorite part of the intro is when Stryker just punches Melina.
Well, that's the best part of everything. That's the best part of the original MK.
No, that's
MK
the
timeline.
The only thing in the intro that makes sense is when Stryker punches Melina.
So awesome.
The entire rest of it is bullshit. That moment,
when Johnny's
that's
shoving
legit.
Sonya off.
Yeah, he just shoulder checks her as
don't they say that? Oh, moths to flames. So basically,
yeah. So that's actually part of the story. Blaze has a mind control aura that draws people to want to fight him. That's why they're all turning on each other.
When Blaze is around, it's combat time, and there are no real friends.
Yeah, that's explicitly a thing.
Yeah, maybe he shouldn't have been a zombie, but that's acid reuse.
I like zombie Liu Kang. I don't, have any problem with that.
But I mean, it was acid reuse.
This is where we cover the fact that John Vogel apparently a while back said that he always found Liu and Katana a little bit vanilla. I don't know if he was just talking about their relationship or them as characters, but if that is how he sees them as characters, it does make a certain amount of sense that he would kill him and bring him back as a zombie.
Well, I mean, the whole thing was that when Liu Kang died at the beginning of Deadly Alliance, the fan base remembers that moment as being a positive storytelling choice. It
absolutely was.
It was a time when shock value wasn't just a cheap shock. It was actually like something that moved the story forward and was good for other characters. Like the whole problem, if you're in the mindset of imagining that you're back in 2002 when the game came out, is that Liu Kang won 4 games in a row. He's the only guy who gets to be the winner of every Mortal Kombat game that exists up to that point.
Nobody saw it coming.
And now he's dead, and it's everybody else's turn. What's going to happen now? The safe choice is no longer an option, and the story is opened up to new directions. So I can see why you would say Liu Kang is vanilla, because Liu Kang's core personality is that he's just a nice guy. Like, he just always does the right thing and is a pure hero. And in a franchise like Mortal Kombat, where the most interesting characters are like the flawed guys, the edgy guys, Scorpion is a neutral anti-hero murderer who is either trying to get revenge for something or trying to find redemption for his past. Sub-Zero is an ex-assassin who's trying to find redemption for his past.
All of our characters have a little bit of edge to them, don't they?
Johnny Cage is at least just kind of a jerk. Like, he's at least funny and interesting.
He's supposed to be the Han Solo.
Yeah. The Luke Skywalker-y character, the guy who's just a good guy. It's easy to appreciate that when it's gone. Like, it's much easier to like Liu Kang now because he's been mistreated in enough games or absent in enough games, or they missed the point of him in enough games that it's very much like the effect of having so many evil Supermen in media has made people appreciate normal Superman again. I think there's value to doing that. To reminding people why he was a good thing in the first place and why the evil ones suck.
Yeah.
But here's my thing about Zombie Liu, is that the story of Liu Kang being a zombie is that there are 2 Liu Kangs. There's regular Liu Kang, who has now risen to this enlightened ghost form who has new psychic powers and is trying to help out his friends from beyond the grave. And then there's this object, this inanimate object that looks like Lou. His empty corpse, the body he left behind when he died. Dark Raiden has corrupted that and is using it as a mindless enforcer, and the real Liu Kang wants to stop the abomination that is his co-opted body.
Yeah.
So it's not evil Liu Kang. It's real Liu Kang wanting to stop imposter Liu Kang. That's a different kind of story. And I think there's a lot of value in that story. And you're talking about reused assets, but the truth is, Zombie Liu Kang's story doesn't happen in Deception. Like, yes, he's in Deception, but it's like the prologue to when he's really going to do stuff. Him and Dark Raiden don't do anything in Deception. Armageddon is the game where Dark Raiden and Zombie Liu actually matter. So it's like Zombie Liu and Dark Raiden didn't even need to be on the roster in Deception. Armageddon is their real appearance.
They were previews for the next game.
Yes.
And, well, I think obviously the plan was that Taven wins Armageddon, but it doesn't strip anyone of their powers like they wanted to.
Yeah, so as Taven goes through conquest mode, he gradually learns that the idea behind the quest is, okay, with the magic swords are the only thing that can kill Blaze, so what is the armor for? The armor is that when Blaze dies and you get the prize, the power of a god, there will be surplus power that will pass through the armor and into everybody else in the crater. And Argus and Delia couldn't decide. Do we want to kill everybody to prevent Armageddon, or do we just want to take their powers away? Like, that would be the more humane option. So, theoretically, one of the armors, when the energy passes through it, if that guy is the one who beats Blaze and wins, the energy will depower everybody. If the other guy wins, the energy will kill everybody. And they pretty heavily hint that Taven's armor is the one that will depower and Dagon's armor is the one that will kill. But here's the thing. Blaze was captured by Onaga's holy men hundreds of years ago and forced to guard an egg. And they used magic to control him and force him to do this. And this magic changed Blaze and corrupted the energy of the prize within him. So when Taven wins, at the end of Conquest mode, they say an unforeseen third thing happens, but they don't say what that third thing is. If you beat arcade mode with Taven, though, they tell you what the third thing is. The third thing is that the energy buffs everybody's powers, and now things are worse.
And Taven says he will stave off Armageddon until...
Yeah, he vows to find a solution, and it's sort of left as a to be continued.
And we never got a continuation.
Because 9 decided, actually, Shao Kahn won. His ending came true.
Bitch, write your own. Do what I did.
Yeah.
But Shao Kahn's ending is basically he goes mad because he has nothing left to conquer.
Yeah.
Let's not start talking about endings. Because if we start talking about endings, that's a lot of them. Well,
we could probably
talk.
We're
actually at the 2.5 hour mark. Maybe we
want
to do another
supper. I need to stop. It is hot in this room. You've been talking for nearly 3 hours. I have to pee. I want my mommy.
Yeah, we'll
come back to this next time. We'll do the bios and joke around about the stupid fucking endings.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we'll have things to say, so we'll see you guys next time. Later, guys.
Good night, people.
See you later, nerds.
Have a nice day.